Welcome back, everybody. My name is Stephanie. I'm on the team here at Produce Your Podcast, and we're in a brand new year, which means it's time to talk about the 5 core strategies that are going to grow your podcast this year. And before I dive in, I do want to let you know that we have a PDF guide that covers all of this in detail. That guide is called Turn Your Podcast into a P&L Asset. You can find that at produceyourpodcast.com. So I'm going to hit it from a high level today, but make sure you go to the site and get the full guide. You can read about everything and again, get more detail on how to implement, how to combine the strategies and all of that good stuff. So let's talk about it. The top 5 strategies that we consider to have must-haves for this year in podcasting is going to start with, maybe in a surprise to nobody, the role of video. Now, the really good thing is if you are recording with a platform such as Riverside, Riverside is already capturing your video, even if you are only releasing the audio right now. Now, for us at the time that I'm recording this, which is early in 2025, even at PYP, we have gone around and made the shift into formally fully recommending audio and video for podcasts that are coming to us. That's because of who we work with. We work with business branded podcasts. All of their podcasts are meant to drive visibility, leads, and sales. And quite frankly, you cannot ignore video if that is your goal. So video does a couple things for you. Number one, expand your placements. You will now go from the audio platforms only into places like YouTube. You can put videos on your website. The SEO power of videos on blogs has astounded me over the last 12 months, just watching what our own videos at PYP have done for our website traffic. We'll be doing them for all of our own podcasts. Again, these are leaps in terms of traffic and attention on websites as high as 70%. Wild. So video cannot be ignored, right? Obviously, there's the short form content that can come from that. There's a little bit of playing to the algorithms in that. But again, we are following within video both the things in marketing that are hot right now, as well as the foundational benefits in things like I mentioned with SEO, right? So bringing in a video strategy into your podcast is one of our must-haves. And again, at this point, video cannot be ignored. So that's number one. Number 2 is a little bit of an audience growth strategy in the world of audio advertising. If you're not familiar with audio ads, as I'm saying it here, think about the traditional radio ads, right? You're driving on your commute in the morning to work, in between songs, in between the DJs talking to you, there's ads that play. So podcast audio ads are very similar. It is an audio-based ad that gets baked in to an episode feed that listeners hear as they're going through your episodes. Why are we so excited about it? Okay, couple things. We have personal client success stories that will seriously blow your mind. However, there's also so much data on audio ads, and there has been for a long time. But again, most people just aren't looking at it. Maybe it's not as fancy dancy as the social media ads. A little bit, people are a little less aware of the world of audio advertising. But the percent actions that people take after hearing an audio ad is much, much higher. Depending on the article that you'll look at, you'll see about 60 to 80% of people take an action after hearing an audio ad. Folks are less likely to skip audio ads, especially if they are host read. And my favorite one, which I think is just the hot button and a big win for everybody involved, audio advertising delivers a 2.5 times higher return on ad spend than other forms of advertising, meaning every dollar that you put into audio ads, you're getting a 2.5 return back. That's huge. And the way that audio ads work is essentially there's an audio-based advertisement for either your podcast, your business, maybe both. And we put that in front of what's called mirrored audiences. So if you are, for example, a female health focused show, we are looking for where audiences for female health focused shows hang out. What else do they listen to? What other podcasts are they subscribed to? And your ad gets put in front of them. So it's highly, highly targeted, which is fantastic. Again, attention spans are higher, action rates are higher. I could seriously do a whole video just on audio ads alone. It is so exciting. We have had clients, several clients, double their downloads within 30 days from one audio advertising campaign. It is insane. And the staying power of that and the long-term gain, it's all there, right? We are watching people's downloads steadily climb up, and they're pulling in real qualified audience members, which is the most exciting thing because that's what everybody wants when they launch their podcast. So, like I said, I could do probably an entire video on that. This is supposed to be short, sweet, and the 5 things that you can consider as you build out your growth plan this year. But we talked about audio and video. We've talked about audio ads. Number 3 is one that you are also probably familiar with, which is guesting on other shows. So a little bit of a theme here, especially as we came from audio ads. The closer you can get to your core audience, the better. So when you go out and you guest on podcasts that your audience is listening to, is a fantastic way to build trust with them, promote without being salesy, right? Or feeling salesy, get your products and your information and your mission in front of people and invite them back to listen to your podcast, explore your business, become a customer, right? So many benefits. And that has really been a growth strategy for years. It's one of the ones that'll probably pop up every year, but it works. And that's why we're so passionate about it. 4 of 5, looking down at my notes here, is all about sponsorship. So if you've followed PYP for some time, you know a little bit about our stance on sponsorships. And that is that a business branded podcast, meaning a podcast that is tied to a company's growth goals, their mission, their founder, etc., don't need to follow the traditional cost per thousand model. And that's because this is very targeted niche content being put in front of a targeted niche audience. Download numbers are generally a little bit smaller, but the audiences are much higher quality. So it's kind of less guesswork, to put it simply, on a sponsoring brand. So when you put together sponsorship packages, we want you putting together packages that are actually going to make an impact on your bottom line. Our clients put together 4- and 5-figure sponsorship deals. Again, gets you out of the cost per thousand model, which actually ends up being quite low for a lot of shows. And a lot of those lead to long-term brand partnerships, which is obviously that long-term growth that we want you to capture. Okay. And 5th and final, another PYP favorite, if you followed us for some time, is really good calls to action, or CTAs. So again, think of some of your favorite podcasts. A lot of times at the end of certain podcasts, the host is trying to exit the show, and there's kind of like this rattling off of like 20 different things you could do to stay connected. How many of us are not hearing that? Because we've heard it once, it's a long list, we kind of mentally tune out, right? We do have a formula for our preferred call to action method. All of that is in the PDF guide that I talked about at the start of this episode, but I really just want to give you a good example of what this is. We had one client who did some strategy work with us. We looked at her calls to actions, her intros, and her outros. Now, she was a business consultant. Her outro and call to action at the time was, again, it was kind of like that laundry list of like, okay, well, you could go to my website and then make sure you sign up for my email newsletter. There's also an ebook over there. You can also find me on Instagram at this handle. I'm over here on LinkedIn at this handle. And if you want on Facebook still, you can come over here, blah, blah, blah. So much, right? And so what we were finding and what she was seeing, most importantly, is that people were kind of tuning out. They weren't listening. They weren't taking action. We had her focus on one core action that she wanted her audience to take. I believe at the time it was her ebook. So it was, if you are looking to do X, Y, and Z, go to my website, download this ebook. It will teach you X, Y, and Z. There we go. Boom, done. One thing, easy, a specific thing to do, a specific place to go, and a specific win that it will help them get. Now, she got back in studio after we coached her through that, recorded an episode, did her new call to action and outro. And in that next episode that she released after that implementation, closed a sales call into her high ticket coaching program. And you know what's so funny is the person had actually been a listener of her podcast for several years and gave her the feedback and said, I never really knew like what you did or how it would help until I heard the recent episode. Boom, done. So that's what we want for all of you. Remember, a confused mind says no. We are not giving laundry lists of 30 things to do in our calls to action. We want to simplify, give them that one thing, and we want to let the magic take place from there. So again, we covered a lot of things here today. We do have that top 5 growth strategies. That lives in a PDF guide on our website, produceyourpodcast.com. It's called Turn Your Podcast into a P&L Asset. Grab it there for more detail. And as always, reach out to us with any questions or if you need any support with the growth strategy for your podcast this year. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Level up your podcast with advice from the pros at Produce Your Podcast. Subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay updated. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your network. For more expert tips and services, visit produceyourpodcast.com.